Hi guys, so my name is Michaela Washington, and the topic that I'm going to be talking about is called, masculinities and violent crime. Excuse me. Okay, so when we think of masculinities and violent crime, we always have to remember that they are intertwined. They are not two separate things, that they go hand in hand together. Now, with this being said, we also have to remember that if we're going to talk about a different issue, we have to bring up something else to explain the violent crime that does not have nothing have to do with masculinity. If it has to do with masculinity, like I said, they go hand in hand together. Now, masculinity, like we've already previously talked about in class, has to do with multiple qualities and multiple characteristics, such as being tough, being dominant, being controlled, being basically just being what society believes is a man, their ideologies of what a man constitutes as. And we learn this at such a young age, especially young boys who try to live up to these ideologies and try to live up to these standards that we have been placed upon. Now, when a man feels like he's not a man and he feels like he has to assert his dominance in some other way, the one thing that he will usually do is he will try to find an alternative way to show his dominance and control. And this usually leads to domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is when a woman or male is being abused by their significant other or partner. And a man will do this because he doesn't think he has any other way of showing dominancy, or he doesn't believe he has any other way of showing that he is strong, that he is a man, because society has already looked down upon him and has determined that he is not. Society has determined at that point that he is a sissy, he's a wuss, he's more feminine than anything else. There's no way that he is a man. So, with this being said, the only emotion that he'd be able to feel, since he is supposed to be emotionless, is to abuse the one that he is loved or the one he is with. Now, when this certain person or this man decides that he is going to commit a crime to send him to jail, he is still having to show his dominance in some other different way. Just because he's not doing it in a home, he is still having to do it somewhere, in some way or some fashion, and show that he is still a man to this day. Now, if a man is locked up in prison or in jail, he has two choices. He can be toxic without hegemonic masculinity, or he can be hegemonic masculinity without being toxic. And as we discussed in class, toxic masculinity is when a man is always angry, always ready to fight, always snap. He is one person that adds fuel to the fire, or he is the fire, to say. Excuse me. And if you are hegemonic without being toxic, all you want is respect. You give respect, and you find some way to earn respect. Now, the only time that you will be violent if it's your last resort. If you don't have to be violent, then you won't be violent. You solve your problems without being violent. But if you have to, yes, violence will occur. Now, I have read multiple articles on this, and they all said the same thing, that if you are masculine, you must show your masculinity in some way. You must be dominant. You must be, in some way, shape, or form, be a man. And you must, how should I say this? Be a man in which society claims a man is supposed to be. And the articles have said also that, and shown statistics on this, shown multiple statistics. They have shown that about 10 to 11% of crime that are committed by women are not as serious or not as dangerous as committed by men. Men commit about 90% of all crime, and these crimes lead to domestic violence, lead to rape, lead to sexual assault. These crimes lead to being very, very violent, very dangerous. And that's why I believe at a young age, especially at a young age, men join gangs, because they are taught at a young age in like music videos, in movies that being in a gang makes you a man because you are strong, you are powerful, you are dominant. Gangs control certain things about people, and yes, you would have a piece of that. But they don't say is like, if you were to show emotion within those standards, that you would be considered not a man anymore. Being masculine and being and having violent and being violent and being connected to violent crimes tend to harm others and harm themselves.